What's up? Joined by Will Anderson, repping Alabama, the Crimson Tide. Just finished your on-field workouts. How's it feel?
I feel so blessed right now. I mean, just all the prayers, all the hard work, and just up until this time, I just feel like everything I did today was just where I wanted to be at.
Look at this, taking a look back. Got you running the 40. You were moving out there. Your time, you crushed it. How'd you feel running?
I felt great. I felt amazing. Coming from the first time I did my 40 to now, it was a big change, but I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of, like, Brent Calloway, all the guys, Clutch, that helped me get here. I'm super excited, and I'm very thankful for all those guys.
It's so fun because when you walked over here and I said, how are you? You know, some guys can be kind of quiet or a little nervous. You have the biggest smile on your face, and it goes to show you really are soaking up this moment, aren't you?
Yes, I am, because I'm the first person in my family to ever do something like this. I don't want to take it for granted. I don't want to do anything like, you don't get a lot of opportunities like this, you know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to soak it all in. I'm trying to be in the moment and have fun doing it, because that's what it's all about.
All right, top Billin, back at it again. This time talking about my man Will Anderson Jr. Now, when I think about Will Anderson currently, I think about that quote: "You either die a hero or live long enough to become a villain." Figuratively speaking, of course, that's exactly what's happening to Will Anderson. And I saw the tide shift, right, for lack of a better term. I saw that shift in the middle of the season when people started to question his production and all this and that. And now you have people going on, so they don't think he's going to be that good. He may just be average and everything. And I'm like, damn, how does that man's worst season equal most people's best season, and he's the one that's not going to be that good? This is what I wanted to see from Will Anderson, because he's already put out mountains of film, and he's done it in 3 seasons. Most of everyone else that he's being compared to are 4-year players. 3 seasons, and he's lapping these guys as far as production goes. I wanted to see this man's weight. 6'3.5", box checked, 253 pounds. Will Anderson, come on. This is what people were trying to make up shit, talking about how he's undersized and this and that. But then they'll say in the next breath for somebody who is undersized, they won't say anything about that. That's how you know that quote is applicable to what's going on with Will Anderson today, right? 6'3.5", 253 pounds. That's Von Miller all day long. Straight up. That's Khalil Mack and these guys. An outside linebacker in a 3-4, or he's one of these guys. If you play in a 4-3, maybe you widen him out to the 9s. He can do a lot of shit up off of his feet. That man right there is maniacal, getting after the rusher, right? Getting after the ball carrier, and of course getting after the passer. What are we doing here? Check this out right here. All right, so let's check this out right here. Now keep in mind, you can make a case that Will Anderson has played on the least talented Alabama defenses of the past however many years. He's been the guy, right? It's not like 3-4 years ago when this shit was absolutely loaded. There are some good players on Alabama. There aren't any otherworldly players on Alabama's defense in the front 7 like it used to be. But check this out right here. A man in 3 seasons had 34.5 sacks, 58.5 tackles for loss, right? He's going, look at this, right? 114 solo tackles as an edge player. 204 total tackles. He gets after it. There's nothing you can say bad about this kid, man. You have to force yourself into saying something bad because you want to be a sheeple. You want to have popular opinion. Popular opinion is not analysis. That's just going with the flow. That's the go along, get along game. You don't want to be challenged. So you'll say something dumb like Will Anderson is not popping, right? Come on, man. 17.5 sacks, right? He had 7 sacks as a freshman and went to 17.5. His poor season, or however you want to classify that, a couple of less games, of course, 10 sacks. 10 sacks. You know how many people would love to have 10 sacks? You guys are propping up some of these guys. As a matter of fact, check this out. Who is this? Nolan Smith. My man Nolan Smith, great athlete. There's no doubt about that. I think Nolan Smith is a pretty good player as well. He ain't messing with no Will Anderson. Come on, man. Let's be real about this. This man had 12.5 sacks in 4 years. Now, you can say, well, he missed some games and he was in a rotation and all that. I don't care. There were other people that were in the same exact predicament as him at Georgia who got more sacks, tackles for loss, and all that. The production just isn't there. And if you have these excuses about Nolan Smith, then how is it applicable? You can't say shit about Will Anderson and then try to make excuses for the next man. That man had 3 sacks. Listen, he was in his junior season, he had 4.5 sacks. He was number 1 in his rotation. That was after Azeez Ojulari had left. That's all he needed was Azeez Ojulari to leave. Jermaine Johnson was gone. All these guys were gone. He was the guy who was tasked with really being that guy. And he had 4.5 sacks. So what are we doing here? Now, he's a really good player. He's good against the run and everything like that. But if you look at this here, Will Smith doubled up his production and tripled up his sack production. Come on. Who's next? Texas, another 4-year player here. 7 sacks total, right? 2 seasons in a row. 17 total sacks in 4 years. 32.5 losses, 121 tackles. Will Anderson destroying that, right? That's your man Tyree Wilson. 6'6", 275. He's going to be a good player. Definitely got a good NFL body. Would have liked to seen him at the Combine. I'm always a little weary of people who do that. My man Miles Murphy didn't perform at the Combine too, so they try to get these pro day numbers that be juiced up. The Combine be juiced up now, so you might as well just do the Combine. All right, who we have next? Notre Dame. 10.5 sacks, 10 sacks. That's Will Anderson's worst season that people say sucks, right? His best season, that is Isaiah Foskey, is very similar to Will Anderson's worst season. And keep in mind, he was in his 4th season on campus. Come on, man. We got to stop this, man. Right? You either die a hero or live long enough to become the villain. That's all that happened. This happened to my man Trevor Lawrence, right? He was on the scene, even though he was only in college for 3 seasons, he was on the scene way too long in people's minds, so they started to try to pick apart his game. If you come on late or if people feel you're an underdog, they'll try to prop you up. That's just how it goes, man. That's the name of the game. I hate it. All right, as we see right here, Will Anderson coming out of a motorcycle stance 99% of the time. It is a true odd front scheme that he plays in under Nick Saban. He is an outside linebacker. He's an edge player. He is not a base defensive end or anything of the sort. He's a scheme-specific fit for anybody running a 3-4, but I believe he could definitely fit in if anybody wants to run sort of a wide 9 type scheme as well. He'll only get bigger, but he's definitely big enough already, pause. But if we see right here, man, people are talking about, is he big enough? I'm telling you, you stay long enough, people will start to pick you apart. He's been a superstar since he's a freshman. Now he's in his 3rd year. People are just having to find ways to try to pick him apart like they did Trevor Lawrence. And see how that's working out. Lawrence busting people's ass just like I said he would. But here we go right here. Check this out. Look at this. Bench pressing that man. You see that? You see that? Listen, all you people always talk about the SEC when it's convenient, but he plays against SEC competition in the SEC West, right? He's going against some of your better tackles that we've seen, period, whether it be through his regular schedule, outer conference schedule, and into the playoffs as well. So we see him right here, right? He's taking inventory, right? Every move is going to be something different for him, no matter even if it's the same move. You see him taking inventory, stick that foot in the ground like he's going to run the arc, and then get up into his chest. Now look at this, right? Fight the hands, right? Pity pat with him, fight the hands just to get into his chest, and then you see the offensive lineman here unable to dock the boat. Look at the boat right here. It is sailing way up into the ocean right there. My man is getting his just desserts for not dropping that anchor right there. Pushed him all up into Robbie Ashford, and then boom, there you have it. Your man Will Anderson doing his 1-2 thing, like it's 34th or 35th sack or something like that in college, and people still talking. Look at this. Oh, don't be doubting Will Anderson. Let's not do that. Yo, top Billin. I had to double back on my man Will Anderson Jr. I previewed him in the lead up to the SEC championship game, just marveling at how good he was with his blue collar sacks and his ability to continue to work and get home to the quarterback, play the run, and do everything like that. He is just phenomenal. He's probably the best true freshman ever in one of these 3-4 defenses ran by either Nick Saban, Kirby Smart or Jeremy Pruitt between the University of Alabama and the University of Georgia. And, man, he didn't disappoint. I wondered if he could get some white-collar sacks just because I understand the makeup of Florida's offensive line and knew he'd be going against Gene Turnstile, DeLance, and he did just that. So I'm going to go ahead and get into some of that on a film study. But I just wanted to show you, man, 7 sacks for Will Anderson to finish SEC play, right? Obviously playing in the SEC championship game. Man, I don't know if anybody's even close to that as a true freshman. Most of these guys you can think about either didn't do anything or they redshirted, right? We can go back to guys like Terrell Lewis, even a Chris Allen that's playing right now. You have a 5-star in Ayabi Anoma. He didn't do much of anything. Just anybody you can think of, even a guy like Nolan Smith from the University of Georgia, right? Remember Nolan Smith? Nolan Smith, man, you can't say he's done much. He probably has 4 total sacks or something like that. And he got the ability to play against Tampax, School for the Blind, and teams like that. Will Anderson did this shit against all SEC play. Nolan Smith was the #1 player in the country. He looked like the goods coming out of high school. He could very well be that in his junior season next year. Maybe he has a breakout game in a bowl game or whatever like that. But, man, he is nothing like Will Anderson. And Will Anderson coming out the 17th player in his own class. So imagine that. He's a 5-star as well, both from Georgia. It's funny how Will Anderson wasn't as highly publicized as a Nolan Smith, man. He just worked hard, kept his nose to the grindstone, and next thing you know, dude is one of the best true freshmen we've ever seen at the position. So that's hard. And it's one of those things that I always tell people, that is a hard transition for kids because most of these guys are simply hand in the dirt ends, and they have to learn how to be a linebacker at Georgia or a linebacker at Alabama. I mean, you have to work hook zone, flat duty, work from a 2-point stance. You have to cover and do all those kind of things as well. So that's why a lot of these guys end up not doing anything until later in their career. But let's go ahead and get to it.
What more can I say?
Top Billin. Them in their sub package. This is their nickel package. So you have Will Anderson here at a 6 technique. Now, keep in mind, I talked about white-collar sacks versus blue-collar sacks on the last one when I said Alabama could heat Florida up like an ironing board, and they did exactly that. White-collar sack will be where you get the quarterback in his normal pass set. A blue-collar sack is where you're continuously working and you eventually do get to the quarterback. It may not be all you're doing. Maybe somebody flushes them and you can continue to work, and then, hey, you get your way to pay dirt that way. So white-collar sacks is pretty much usually your own doing there. So we see him here. Check this out. Definitely a white-collar sack going against Turnstile DeLance there. Hit him with the hezzy. Boom. Fertilized my man Kyle Trask right there and caused a fumble. One more time, full speed. Hezzy. Of course, Gene DeLance going to get too far over his skis, start working his feet like he always does. But, man, you got to give props to the coverage as well, right? They're pretty much going 4 verts here. 4 verts, and it's man on skill with the defense here. So it's a triangle defense. The 2 best players perhaps in the damn country, right, not named Devontae Smith and a couple of other players, but Kadarius Toney and Kyle Pitts can't be guarded. And I said that Alabama was going to have trouble with them in this game, and they did pretty much whatever they wanted. They're also getting vert here, getting vert there, but you can just see exactly how they're bracketing him. You can see the triangle defense between these 3 here. Same thing with Christian Harris, Daniel Wright, and Patrick Surtain here, even though both corners have a quarter of the field to work with working vertically. So this is very good defense there, so you got to give credit to nobody being open, but Will Anderson still gets that within the confines of a normal pass set. All right, here you go right here. If you see him when he comes off the snap, I always love his pad level. Remember, he's an energetic guy. Every snap looks the same to him. Now look at him. Right now, sizing up DeLance. DeLance shoots. Look at DeLance. He sized him up, right? Hit him with the hezzy. Sized him up and then shot the arc. DeLance counters with one hand. One hand. Look at him. Way too far over his skis. I want you to do this. This is almost like punching someone. So if you punch someone and they're agile and they give you half a man like Will Anderson just did Gene DeLance, he has no choice but to stop his feet. Now look at him. Trying to recover here. He's already lost a step. This man has too much dexterity, and he's way too explosive for you to have that type of technique. Look at him round the arc now. He's beat. Look at him. DeLance's up foot is this man's rear foot. Right? They're almost at the same level. He's done. Absolutely toast. Kyle Trask trying to wait for people to get open. But look, everyone's bracketed. Like I said, you had both players, two deep shell, and then you had man under skill underneath, and the guys working vertically on the quarters. So Kyle Trask tries to throw it, thinks better about it. Boom. Anderson does a great job. Think about that. Great job. A lot of these guys will hit somebody in the face to get a penalty. He just simply wraps up his arm. He knows that's going to be good enough, forces a fumble, and then has that man falling like a chick in a scary movie. Did it to him. Cold-blooded. All right, they're clearly in their dime package this time. Anderson working from a two-point stance. Only two down linemen, Tim Smith and my man Chris Allen over here. He gets to work on the close side of the formation going against Kyle Pitts. Blocking is definitely not his strong suit at this particular point in time, but he's going to make $1 trillion catching the ball, and then he gets to go against Malik Davis, the running back, as well. So this is definitely probably his best sack of the year as far as a white-collar sack. However, got to consider the competition as well, but he destroys these boys. That's too easy. Bang. All right, go back on this right here. Really nothing to really phone home about, obviously. Kyle Pitts, he stepped forward first, so he don't know what's going on there. Kyle Pitts is out of his element. Malik Davis tries to step up, but man, Will Anderson came on campus with an NFL body as a true freshman, gets into his chest, right? Straightens his spine out, realigns his spine. Once again, fertilizes Kyle Trask. What's Kyle Trask doing? Oh, he's about to fumble almost. Will Anderson doing a good job of almost getting the ball out each time. Bang. Spread your herb ass on the grass like fertilizer. What's Kyle Pitts talking about, man? He don't know what's going on, man. He got hit with the okey doke. He don't know what's going on. He's like, well, what happened? All right, Bama back in nickel here. Chris Allen bumped out to the close side of the formation, being as this is Kyle Pitts, but this is a 3-by-1 with snug formation here. Those nasty splits, and my boy right here just simply runs the hula hoop. Just a complete hustle play, tackle right there that just shows you his hustle, his energy, speed, dexterity, agility, everything. Got him. Come on, this is your true freshman. Where is he going to be at next year and the year after that? He's one of these dudes, I think, if they could come out as true freshmen, he could be a real high draft pick, man. He's already built for it. But look, of course, DeLance here, struggling, stopping, running his feet there. If he was just barely lucky, Kyle Trask stepped up in the pocket, but it didn't matter. My man was going to reset and continue to work anyway. And, of course, that's what he does, baby. Will Anderson. I like what they were doing right here. When they were working out of their nickel package, sometimes they would have Chris Allen on the bump out, and inside of him was Will Anderson. So you have your two best pass rushers working in tandem here, and Will Anderson makes this play without making the play, if you get what I'm saying. He beats his guy, Trask steps up, and Chris Allen gets it. One more game right there. You see it, both working on the outside portion of this. You can see they almost mirroring each other right here. Anderson does a good job of beating Stuart Reese on the inside, forcing Kyle Trask to step up. He gets ran out to play, but Chris Allen continues to work, gets himself a blue-collar sack, tries to strip the ball. I like how they're doing that. All right, last one right here. It's not all about sacks with this kid. Like I said before, he's a complete player. You can see Daniel Wright coming with filling and spilling for the C gap, and he runs it. The play back inside where Will Anderson collects the tackle here. Savage, too. Jakob. Ooh, look at the physicality by both. Daniel Wright running into the right tackle. See him right here? He takes on that C gap, trying to force it back inside. Then watch Will Anderson going against Stuart Reese fill the hole. Fill the hole, head to the outside, just like you teach it. Bang. Stonewall Jackson's it. Stonewalled. All right. There you have it. Another one, man. Alabama, they keep pumping them out. They have a super talented defense. They have to be able to put it together, though, against elite-level offenses. And they will definitely see an elite-level offense in the playoff, in the national championship game. But ain't nothing to it but to do it, but we'll get to it when that arrives. Until then, it's your boy Murf, the Underground King. Make sure you like this. Make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend about this. Share it. And make sure you subscribe. And I'm out. Peace.
What more can I say?
Top Billin.